Hey everyone, I'm Tammy. I'm the Siberian Wind. Welcome to another After Sunset Sunday. I see I've already got a lot of people in the chat. Thank you so much for being here. I've got Joyce, Susan, Judy, Linda, Patricia. Thank you all so much. While I'm thinking about it, let me see who it was. Pam is not in the chat yet. If Pam shows up, I sent another picture back to her um, about the bobbin case. She posted in the Facebook group. So if you guys see her, let me know because we'll talk about it. Linda says it's in the 40s and 50s, but it's supposed to rain all day tomorrow. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Welcome in, Melanie. Welcome, welcome. All right, so you guys, I am officially hitting fibro flu, if you want to call it that. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it or not. I've managed to avoid it for so long now, but I'm there. And it's draining. So I may be a little bit low energy. So if I have to ask something twice, that's what it is. All right, Pam. You think you got to put back in? Awesome, awesome. Yeah, I just posted a picture. I took my bobbin case out because I needed to change thread colors anyway. And I was like, let me look at mine and see. But I've never taken that spring out, so I don't know. That's a first. That's a first. I've never seen it come apart like that. It's crazy. Crazy, crazy. So how is everybody doing today? You just popped in on say hi and bye, going to bed. Absolutely, Melanie. Hit that thumbs up if you haven't already. So it is 28 degrees here and feels more like 17 or something. It's 28 according to my thermometer piece. According to the computer, it says it is 24. And it's colder than that. Judy says it's 31 in Georgia. Haven't left the house since Thursday. I've been hibernating. I don't blame you. So I'm going to be swapping. You guys are going to see me swapping back and forth between white and black thread over the next, I don't know how many weeks. Because I'm using black thread for temperature rings, and I'm using black thread for this project, but I was using white thread for another project I was working on earlier. Oh my gosh, I'm going to be swapping back and forth a lot. So how's everybody doing? I'm waiting for them to fix our elevator. It's been out since Tuesday. So I leave the house once, and that's it. Once a day. Chloe, welcome in. She says, hello, Tammy. Welcome, welcome. Susan says, 32 here, feels like 25 with the wind. Yeah, the wind will do that. The wind will definitely do that. All right, so I don't know if you guys remember this. If you do not remember this project, or if you're new to the channel, this is December's freebie pattern. This is a paper piecing pattern, and I'm going to keep going with it. Welcome in, Candace. Glad you're here. So I'm going to keep going with it. So what I did, and I did this on the live back in December, is I took freezer paper and I went ahead and made freezer paper versions. So I've got freezer paper of both of these pieces. This is done on actual paper, but we're doing freezer paper tonight. Welcome in, Joe. Mary Jo. She says, evening, y'all. Welcome, welcome. Glad you're here. Thank you so much. Thank you. I put all of this in one little, so like you guys have seen my little project boxes. I actually have some project bags. I don't remember where I got these. Maybe I got these at the quilt show. But I have some that all of our card games and puzzles and board games, that if we want to take them out of the boxes, this is where they go. Welcome in, Kathy. She says, hey everyone, welcome. Glad you are here. So all my extra stuff for right now is going to go back in the back in the bag. So I'm not tripping over it. You guys, if you have not checked out Kathy's channel, Selfie is working tonight, or should be, better be. So if you want to put exclamation selfie in the chat, You're out to dinner with hubby, so checking out while we wait for food. No worries. But if you do want to do exclamation selfie, to drop your channel link in there. Everybody can go check out Kathy's channel. She has some of her project boxes up for sale. So things that she's not going to actually do or work on, she put those up for sale so people could take them home. And so she had her premiere today for that. And there's still, I think there's still a little bit left, isn't there? Maybe like 1 or 2 boxes. Welcome in, Terry. She says, hi, everyone. Hi. I did not number any of these. All of my numbers, there we go. All of my numbers are on here. So let me grab a pencil so I can write my numbers on the back of my freezer paper, because I have not done that. I've got to renumber my freezer paper, you guys. It's craziness tonight. It's going to be crazy. All right. So what I'm going to do to number my freezer paper is I'm going to put it down here. There are a few items left. Is my favorite box still there? The one that I can't afford yet. Is that one still there? Because seriously, you guys, it is right here, this orange box back here. That is my box that has Kimberbell in it, and it has more of that fabric. And I so want to make multiple Halloween themed quilts, and that would be absolutely perfect. There's no way I can afford that. It is still, it's still available. Oh my gosh. Oh, so it hasn't gone home. It makes it so much more tempting. Oh, it does. It so much does. All right, so this is going to be 1, that's going to be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And so she's got a, welcome in, Jess. Hi, Tammy and Chatters. Yeah, so Kathy has a spooky, it's the 2024 spooky box, spooky sampler box. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm in love with the fabrics. I'm in love with them. I've got some of them. I'm going to be working with them later. Like maybe sometime in the summer, so I have it done by October. I love those fabrics. I love them. I love them. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay, so now that I have my numbers, those can go back up. I had to put my numbers on there. I did not keep track of my numbers. All right, so my one piece is going to be black. So it's this piece right here on both of those. And then my 2 pieces are going to be yellow. So let me pull out some yellow. And we're going to do these kind of in tandem because I've got 2 of them. So I'm going to bring this over the ironing board too. So, like, I may not bring you guys over the ironing board, but I'm going to bring the fabric over the freezer paper over the ironing board so I can press. So, have any of you guys done any of this project from December? Or did it go on the back burner? I know mine went on the back burner. It definitely did. I did not get back to it. I haven't done any more with it. Kathy says she'll be back when she gets home. Food is here. Awesome. I'm a little jealous. Of course, I've already eaten, but I'm still jealous. I'm allowed to be jealous, right? I'm allowed to be jealous of the food, even if I've already eaten. We're going to go with that I am. Okay. So what I did is I went ahead and ironed my black in place. Welcome in, Andrea. She says, howdy everyone. I've been here since before the live started. Was in the kitchen making my dinner. No worries at all. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Drew says, have a nice meal, Kathy. I know. She's going to have a meal without us. And I'm a little jealous. She's allowed to, though. I'm not jealous enough to go back burner getting there on... Yes. Chloe says that she put her paper piecing on the back burner. Yep. Of course, now you have another project to get started on. I caught up on my data, so I didn't even bring a rotary cutter, you guys. Let me grab my rotary cutter. Now that I've got them all set close to me, hubby made chili and I did not want beans, so I made myself a chicken and rice casserole. That makes sense. My husband, when he makes his chili, he doesn't put a lot of beans in it, and I really do like the beans. So, he doesn't like my chili, and I don't like his chili. It is a mutual dislike of each other's chili. It's like the one food that we don't really agree on. Chloe says, I need to finish laundry and then back to sewing. I hear ya. I actually went and swapped laundry over just before the live. So I'm right there with you. Alright, so I've been working on Sparkle. So I was going to be working on Sparkle tonight. That was my plan. But I'm kind of in between things, and what I would be doing tonight would be showing you guys measurements that I can't show you. So I had to shift gears, and this is what we're pulling out. I was thinking about possibly pulling out... Chloe, come do my laundry. I did no sewing today after the marathon of sewing yesterday and Friday. Oh, I wish. I need a little bit of a break. I need to give myself a break, but I don't have time to take a break right now. I did get Perfectly Plaid quilted today. So the last of the Perfectly Plaid quilt is quilted. I got a lot of it done Saturday overnight. I still need to decide on a background fabric for temperature rings. Awesome. Now you can actually come up with that later. You will not need that just to get started on your arcs. So you can get started on your arcs before you figure out your background fabric. It will work. Oh, Sherry here. Welcome in, Sherry. Glad you're here. Didn't see your name pop through. I'm glad Joyce was sitting here saying hi to you, so thank you. You guys are keeping me on top of it. I appreciate it. Alright, so I've got a lot of extra fabric, so that will get trimmed off here in a minute, okay? So please don't panic. Alright, so I've got, this is my freezer paper. This is my yellow. I know it's kind of hard to tell. So I've got this in place. I've got this sewn. So now I'm going to take it over to the iron, and I'm going to press my fabric over, and my freezer paper is going to pick up my yellow fabric. Let's see, Patricia says, I was alone all weekend, so I sewed all weekend. Finished New Year's mystery quilt top and did some FPP on Skulliver. Awesome. I cannot wait to see Skulliver. Got my Tree of Life long armed yesterday. Still have to do the binding. You guys are ahead of me on so much of this. My Tree of Life is sitting up top. My New Year's Day mystery, that I need to sew on. I've got everything trimmed and pressed, and I'm to a point of sewing again. So I could have pulled that out tonight and sewed on that. But it's going to take white thread, so I'm going to have to swap back over to white thread again. So yeah, I'm doing the thread swap jingle this month. I am swapping threads left and right. I cannot figure out how to iron tonight. Welcome in, Mona. Glad you're here. Sherry says, just got it. Oh, you're fine. I just started like a little over 8 minutes ago, but you know, who's counting? 8 minutes is the official start time. I don't talk about anything important before the official start time. So if I say we're starting at 8, even if I start early, we're not talking about anything important before 8 a.m. or before 8 p.m. We are not doing an 8 a.m. live, okay? You can forget that is not happening. Now, next week is going to be an important one, you guys. I want you to show up. Sean is going to be here. Welcome in, William. He says, hello, everyone. Welcome. Glad you're here. Thank you. Susan says, I sewed the charity quilt top from blocks sewn at the regional fair. Finished the top for autumn leaves, door banner, and sewed 2 Winterwoods trees for a table runner I'm making for my brother Eric. Oh my gosh, Susan, like you're way ahead of all of us. Goodness. Judy says, I was in the process of putting another backing on, but I want to squirrel. I want to squirrel. I will probably be squirreling later, but I have not squirreled yet, even though I want to. Even though I want to. My brain really, really wants to. My brain has not been treating me well. I know, Chloe. She says, wow, you got a lot done, Susan. Right? All right. I ironed my fabric to the freezer paper, so now I got to pull the freezer paper off. So it's going to lose a little bit of its life because I'm just pressing all willy-nilly. But it's going to be what it's going to be, right? It's going to be what it's going to be. All right. So now we have this piece trimmed off. Okay, so here's my thought. I did post the charity top as a show and tell. Awesome! Yay! Just don't start. She puts in the chat, squirrel, don't start. I will absolutely squirrel tonight. So Sean is going to be here next week, and we are doing Fab Farm. So you guys are going to get to see me working on Fab Farm for the first time. So please be here, show up, show Sean that my channel is actually active. He knows it is. He knows it is. But it's going to be a late night for him. You know, I've done the early morning with him, so now he's going to come do the late night with me. So I feel honored that he is willing to do a late night with me for Fab Farm. So we're going to do Fab Farm 1 week from today. And let's see, what else have we got? What else have we got? Oh, Laura, you're not late. You're not late. We're not talking about, well, we are talking about something important now. Because Sean's going to be here next week. And like, you know when your parents show up, when you're a kid and your parents show up to come like check your progress on cleaning your room? I feel like that's what Sean is for me. So when Sean's over here, like, everybody's got to be on their best behavior and, like, super liking the channel and all of that. As Professor Squirrel, I appreciate all this girly behavior. William, you're awful. Jess is cutting and lurking. Yes, it will be next Sunday. Yes. If my daughter has internet, we'll pop on to say hi. Awesome, Susan. Yes. I didn't get the Fab Farm, but I do have the produce station kit to start on. Perfect. I would love to see you working on one section of Produce Farm every time I'm working on one section of Fab Farm. Yes, Fab Farm so long. That's exactly what we're doing. So Sean is going to be doing the small again. He's done Fab Farm before. So this is his second time doing Fab Farm. This is my first time doing Fab Farm. And so the pattern lists the horse first. Okay. The problem is, in order to completely sew the horse all the way, you have to also sew the strawberry. Well, I haven't done that, and we're not going to do that. So the horse will be mostly sewn next week, and I'll sew one on the live, and I'll get the other 3 done sometime. Welcome in, Rayanne. She says, hello, Tammy and everyone. We will try to behave next week. Yeah, I know how that is. I know how that is. Oh my gosh, you guys. So our elevator is out. And I know I've mentioned it before, but I feel like I need to mention it. Our elevator is out. So I am having to climb stairs every time I leave. So when I come back home, we live on 3rd floor. So I'm climbing 3 flights of stairs every time I come home, which is insane. It really is insane. And I do not do stairs that well because I fatigue so easily. And I'm now not on my emphasis try, right? Try to behave, yep. I love it. I'm always on my best behavior. Oh, sure. I see that. I see that peeking out. Yeah, I see it. I see it. We don't behave on his channel, so why should you be different here? Oh my gosh, I need you guys. You're fantastic. You're so fantastic. Y'all have got me rolling. But yeah, so I've got somewhere to go Monday night. Surgery tomorrow, Laura? Ooh. Is that what we're doing, Laura? Are we doing surgery tomorrow? Is that tomorrow? Because we will all be praying and sending good vibes, sending positive vibes. And sending extra coins for the vending machine for your husband. Uh, procedures tomorrow morning. Oh, that's awesome. Good deal. Good deal. So every time I leave, when I come home, I'm having to climb the stairs. So I've got somewhere to go tomorrow. And so I will not be taking my dog out because my husband will take him out so that I don't have to climb the stairs more than once. It's a mess. It's a mess. All right. So we have one piece attached, and let me fix my computer because there we go. Now I don't have a bright green line through the middle of this. All right, so I've got my one yellow fabric here, and now we're going to add another yellow. As I about try to cover up the microphone. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. All right, so we're going to go, you know what? I only need to probably go this high. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go right there. So, yeah, I figured this would be an easy one to be pulling out. We'll be sending extra pairs and post a note in the Facebook group so we know how you're doing. Yes, please post a note in the Facebook group. We will all be checking up on you. We all want to know that you are okay and safe. Nervous? Yes. Absolutely put it all in the past. You're absolutely right, Laura. Fantastic way to look at it. Fantastic way to look at it. So let's see. So I've got somewhere to be tomorrow night. Let's see. And I might be home in time to hop on over at Williams, so you guys can find me there too. And then what am I doing Tuesday? Do you guys know what I'm doing Tuesday? Do we have any idea what I'm doing Tuesday? I don't know if I've decided what I'm doing Tuesday. Oh, you know what? It's 1 week to the anniversary. So I guess we're getting ready for the anniversary celebration. So what is going to be happening, let me grab my scissors, sorry. I need my snips. So this Tuesday will be your last chance to get advance entries. Well, I take that back. You guys can still enter Monday night or Sunday night. Mona says night. Good night, Mona. Thank you for being here. Let's see, G. Oh no. Goodness, Laura. So much all at the same time. So much. So tomorrow is Monday. I've got an open sew. Awesome, Andrea. She says that howdy to everyone who came after her. First howdy, she's eating, so she'll not be chatting till she finishes. That is perfectly fine. So where was I going? I am squirreling, guys. I am squirreling. I'm seriously squirreling. Good night, Mona. Sleep well and pleasant dreams. Yes, absolutely. I know I was thinking something. Okay, so you guys have until Sunday night with Sean. So 1 week from today is advance entries for the giveaway. The giveaways on the 21st. Welcome in, Lori. She says, hi, Tammy. Welcome. Glad you're here. So you guys have until then to enter. Once we close the live next week with Sean, that's going to close the advance entries. So you won't be able to enter again until on the 21st. So this upcoming Tuesday, we will be doing some more advance entries. So we've already got some advance entries. So I will have some kind of guess kind of thing so you guys can guess and try to get entries or get advance entries for the 21st for the anniversary celebration. So that is what we will be doing Tuesday night. So we'll be chit-chatting. We'll be talking. I might be sewing. We'll see. We'll see. Do you guys want me to sew Tuesday? Judy was very close to him. He was the reason my husband and I met. Oh, gosh. Well, he would want you to be taking care of yourself at the same time. So that would be how a close family member should act. So definitely take care of yourself. I know that's going to be tough, though. Y'all being separated. Close family. That's rough. That is rough. All right, let's see. Where am I at? I'm going to go ahead and trim my extra. What am I working on? Excellent question. So this right here is 1/4. Each of these pieces that I'm working on are 1/8. This is 1/4 of the freebie from December. So if you go back to the December freebie pattern, it was December 14th. It is a paper piecing tutorial. You can go download the free pattern that I drew out for you guys. And this is what it's making. So it's going to make a star, but this is just 1/4 of the block. I haven't even made a full block. How do we enter? Okay, so you can do super chats anytime, and those will put you into the entry. You're not required to, though. I'm not going to require anybody to spend money, okay? But if you want to enter through super chats, you absolutely can. Every super chat gives you an entry into the giveaways. And then Tuesday night, we're going to do some guesses. So you guys get to put things into the chat and guess to get entries. How did the plaid quilt turn out? It turned out pretty good. I still have some work to do on it. My batting, I didn't line it up properly. So I have to fix my batting. And so it's going to take me a little bit, but it will be done by this time next week. The person it's for will be coming back through town. So I'm going to give it away then when he comes back through town. Let's see. It is so sad to lose him, Laura. Oh my, I'm so sorry. Yes. He was my father's Navy buddy. I've known him all my life, and he was like a second father when I moved to Arizona. Yeah. That makes it even more tough. It really does. So, yeah. So, let's see. Have to wait to tell later this week for Super Chat going to Billings Wednesday. Oh, you are fine, Joyce. You are fine. And I hope those measurements work. So, you guys, when I did my live on Saturday, we were doing temperature rings. That's what we were working on. And I had forgotten to get the measurements or get some information set up about if you want to use your own template set. So if you want to use a rotary cutting template set that is not an AccuQuilt cutter, you absolutely can. So I put in the community tab the measurements that you need. I also did a short yesterday that tells you what the measurements are and how to measure your blocks so you can measure your templates to see if those will work. Katie says, hi everyone, cutting fabric for Owl from the 100 Acre Wood. Oh, you're doing that one. Oh my gosh. I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous. I want to be doing that one. I'm not, but I want to be. Susan says, posting a photo of the autumn leaves top. Yay. Fantastic. You guys, Susan is absolutely bringing up the number of entries you guys are getting for Sew and Tell. So she is the one to beat. She is one to beat. She's the one who got us up to you guys, oh, I didn't tell you. You guys got 13 entries. So on Sew and Tell this month, everybody who had a Sew and Tell this month got 13 entries for the Sew and Tell giveaway quilts. So there's a ton of entries, you guys. A ton of entries. So Susan entered you guys up to 13 just for this this month. I saw that short. Still haven't measured my templates. Oh yeah, you're fine. You got time. You got time. You can still catch up. Believe me, you can still catch up. I did not even have all of my I I don't even have all my peels cut. So, like, all of my peels are not cut. I did not even have all the way through, let's see, yesterday was the 11th. I didn't even have all the way through the 10th, you guys. So, I went and got those a little while ago because I'm doing 2024 values, but I'm doing it real time against 2025 values so I can kind of see the difference. Oh, you guys are fantastic. Judy says, Susan, if I don't win, I hope you do. I know it's Kennedy was sitting here going, I hope I win that quilt. So you guys are loving this quilt, and I'm so thankful that you are, because that's what I intended. I want it to be something that you guys really do want to get. Going to see a GI specialist. Oh, okay. Well, there's room enough for all of us. We all have to go see him eventually. Mostly. Most of us have to go see him eventually. I hope the appointment goes well, Joyce. So we got Laura going to the doctor tomorrow, Joyce going Wednesday. And I can't go until we figure out what the heck. Oh. Gotta love life, right? Gotta love life. And now the number of entries does not mean you're going to win. The number of entries just means that everybody gets that many entries for that month. So it increases your odds. The number of entries increases your odds. So now we need to get William on board. We need to get him quilting. Oh. This is what I want to be doing on a Sunday night, you guys. I want to be sewing and quilting and hanging out with you guys. I really, really do enjoy doing this every Sunday night. It's absolutely fantastic. It's going to be weird having a guest, though. I mean, my last guest was Alicia Rayan says that she's going to Gillette tomorrow, but not for a doctor's appointment. Well, I guess that's good. You just need to be safe. That's a long haul. I'm 2 entries right now this season. Okay, so she's keeping track, you guys. She's keeping track. She's going to get y'all bumped up in the number of entries. So anytime Susan is super busy, that's when you guys want to enter. Oh, Jess says that she is at 1. Oh my goodness. Well, you better get on it. You better get on it. And they don't have to be finished projects. I'm praying he can help. So tired of this. I bet, Joyce. I bet. You have been dealing with it for a while. You've definitely been dealing with it for a while. I had to cancel my... I was supposed to have an appointment tomorrow in Gillette. But I had to cancel that because I don't have the insurance coverage to cover it without having to pay a hefty copay, and I can't afford it. Joy says, or Mary Jo says, I hope and pray that you found a good GI deck and they can help you out. Awesome. Anniversary entries are not so until entries. Correct. Absolutely. Welcome in, Lana. She says, hi, Tammy. Welcome, welcome. So yes. So anniversary entries are not so and tell. You are absolutely right. So, and you cannot pay to enter so and tell. There is no, you cannot do a super chat to enter so and tell entries. See, I was confused, so I can just enter a block? Yes. If it is part of the same project, enter it under the same name. On the Land That I Love quilt, if you're entering your blue blocks and your red blocks, or your November blocks and your December blocks, and then some of your January blocks, enter those as one unit, because that's going to be per project. So that's how I count it, is I do count it per project, but you can absolutely enter different blocks for your project. So just count it per project. Susan says, I'll not be at my machine for a week while visiting my daughter. We'll be taking a quilt with me to hand quilt. Oh, that's perfect, Susan. You're good at that, though. You're so good at that. So I went somewhere last night and went to go hang out with some people and go eat some Mexican food. You know, gotta have the Mexican food, right? Yeah, so I went to go eat Mexican food with some friends last night. And a couple of them, welcome in, Rita. Welcome, glad you're here. The person sitting directly across from me, amazingly enough to me, her mom is a quilter and has apparently a quilter's dream room, and daughter is needing to get rid of some of it and needing to finish some projects. So I may have recruited a quilter or a future quilter to come join some of my quilting shenanigans around town. Just as good to know, because I was like, there went Vlogmas. Well, 24 blocks. Nope, it is per project. So those of you who are like me, who are working on 15 different projects at once, yeah, you can enter. 15 different projects at once. I'm not going to cut you off for doing it. But if I can tell it's part of the same project, that's how I'm going to count it. Rita says, oh, wow, that is amazing. Okay. Yeah. Finding somebody, you know, and she's like my age. And I'm like, I'm the youngest in all of my groups here locally. Because there's other people my age, but I haven't, for some reason, been able to connect with any of their groups. Like, I don't know why. It's been like a disconnect, and I don't quite get it. But I get along fine with older people, so it doesn't bother me. I mean, and, you know, to be honest, somebody actually said, you know, baby face, and I turned and looked because I'm the youngest one in the group, and they're like, oh, I knew you turned and looked. Well, yeah, I'm the youngest person. I know to do that. Like, I know to expect it. But yeah, so I may have someone joining into all the quilty shenanigans that is more my age, which will be fantastic. It will be absolutely fantastic. All right, we're going to see if I can hold this and take it to the iron. We're going to see, because I'm having to stretch it just a hair because I'm trying to be stingy with my fabric, even though I really shouldn't be. I have no reason to be stingy with my fabric, but I'm trying to be. Okay, so that worked. So now we got that far. So if you guys can see, it's going to line up with this side. So that's what I'm doing. Isn't that strange? Younger get along with older, but really young get along with hardly anyone. Oh, I could say so many things. So many things. I was watching something, and I was commenting on this to somebody else the other day, and I don't remember if I was live or not, so I couldn't say, but I watched something, and it was this lady, or maybe I read it. I can't remember. I can't place it to tell you. What's wrong with us old people? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I just find it entertaining when I find somebody about my age. Yes, I am, Lana. She says, are you using freezer paper? Yes, I am. That's what it's sticking to. That's why I'm not stitching through it because I don't want to tear it. So yeah, it's freezer paper. I need to like trim around the outside edges. I keep asking myself that question all the time. So my deal is, or what I run into, we'll put it that way, what I run into is that the generation just barely younger than me takes things so differently. Like, it is like night and day. So I can associate with older people, and I understand where they're coming from, the older generations. And I can understand where they're coming from and why they have some of the values that they have. Like, it clicks. I get it. And then the younger generation is just so off the rails different. I mean, it's crazy how different it is. And they just don't they don't get some of the nuances that the older generation really does get. Now, to be fair, the younger generation really knows computers. So if I ever have a computer problem, I just look for the youngest person in the room and go, do you know how to fix this? And most of the time, they do. Do I always want to ask? No. No, I don't. And I'm actually not that old. Lana says, nothing wrong with us older people. You see who she's hanging out with, right? Exactly. Exactly, you guys. Rita says, freezer paper is amazing. That's what I'm using. So if you, I don't know if you caught I don't remember all the names. So please do not hate me for this. But if you caught my live yesterday, I'm doing temperature rings, which is the temperature quilt pattern, that's a double wedding ring. And let me get back to that too, because I will come back to that. It's called Us Older Generation Have Learned the Hard Way. Younger generation do not have the experience yet. I don't even think it's that. I feel like the disconnect is not even related to experiences. It's related to their view on the experiences. So, my generation, and I'm not trying to go political, so please don't take me that way. Welcome in, Shelby. She says, everyone, happy Sunday. Thank you. So I don't even mean to take it this. Guys, we have 41 viewers. Please make sure you are hitting that like button. Make sure YouTube knows that you guys are happy to be here. Please. Okay, just saying. So I'm not going to make this political, so please do not take it politically, and we're not having a political discussion on my channel tonight. I'm just not having it. Because I have to rip this, and I did not bring my seam ripper over, but I have to rip this. I didn't cover my seam, guys. I didn't cover. Oh my goodness. Okay, so my seam, or like my piece is covered completely, but I have no seam allowance right here. Like, it is not even covered at all. After watching Kids by the University, they all have they have different values. They do. So, all right. You know, people are cliquey. Seasoned people are cool. We've been around. Okay, so older people can be cliquey too. I will say that. So that is not unique to an age group. So here's the I can't talk. So my generation, I was in high school when Columbine happened. Okay, I was in high school during Columbine. I was in. I've been watching on 2X to catch up. You're funny. I love it. So I was in from Katie. She was on a live last night or this morning, chatting with somebody, or she was chatting in somebody's live, and was it last night? My days are running together. I have seen her recently. Yeah, okay, so it was yesterday. So Nikolai was sick on the ship, or was not feeling well on the ship. So I don't know if she's gone MIA because he's home now. But the ship he was on was hitting turbulence, and he was not feeling well. So definitely keep her in your prayers, you guys. No, she hasn't. You're right. Yes, that's another thing, Laura. So the generation younger than me grew up knowing where phones were, knowing how to use telephones, knowing how to use cell phones. Must be about the age of some of your grandkids. It's possible. It is possible. I've been accused of that. I am a grandchild, so I've been accused of that. But, okay, so in my generation, the kids in school may not have had cell phones themselves, but everybody's parents at least had a bag phone in the car, or they were starting to adapt to having a cell phone. And the rich and posh families, the ones that had a little bit more money, definitely had a phone in the car. Like, you had car phones. You did 10-digit dialing. Most of the places, that I knew of, you did 10-digit dialing. And what else? So I grew up, we actually had computer class when I was in school. Now, granted, they gave us the older computers at my school that, couldn't connect to the internet. But we grew up, our teenage years, when we're trying to connect with other teenagers and trying to form those bonds, we were able to do it on Yahoo and AIM and all of these chat programs, MySpace, all of those kinds of things were just in their infancy. So we grew up knowing to learn to try to figure all of this out. Like, we knew that they were going to be a big deal. Like, we couldn't escape them. So we knew we had to learn them. And we had to at least have a very basic working knowledge. My husband's generation didn't have cell phones or anything else. Welcome in, Kelly. Yes, pagers. I did not have a pager. We were not posh enough for me to have a pager. But yes, I do remember them. I did have friends who had them. But so I remember having to carry the bag phone in my car if I was going to an out of town basketball game as a cheerleader. So, like, totally, it's crazy, absolutely crazy. So the generation below me, they were in grade school and they were in middle school learning computers. So even though they might have been born before cell phones really became a thing, they grew up and they were getting a hold of the technology and they were getting a hold of cell phones before they were middle schools. So even if they didn't own it themselves, they had that technology inundation. So if you think back, when you look at cartoons, so my husband will sit there and tell me about cartoons he watched growing up. And it's like above my head. Like, it's cartoons I've never heard of. He's seen shows that I've never heard of. And so my generation had welcome in, Jackie. Good day to you. I saw you earlier in somebody's chat. Ian's chat. Welcome. So I was that cross generation. I grew up without cell phones and pagers and all of the technology, but I was introduced to it early enough that when I went to college, I actually got myself a laptop. Like, I spent the money to get myself a laptop to take to my college classes so I could take notes on my computer and type things up and not have to handwrite and then retype it later. So I was in that cross generation. I knew what it was like to live without them, but I knew how to use them. The generation below me, the younger generation, never had that kind of transition. They were already getting technology in middle school, and by high school they had cell phones. So when Columbine hit, everybody had, there were cell phones around. Everybody was calling everybody. Like when 9/11 hit, everybody was on their cell phones calling out to people. People on the planes had cell phones and they were calling home. So if you think about it that way, in 2001, when that happened, it was such a different era. So the kids who were kids during 2001, during all of these changes, they went through Y2K, but do you think they remember it? No, they don't. They don't remember how catastrophic it felt to go into Y2K, hoping and praying that everything didn't crash. They didn't go into 9/11, they never went into 9/11 thinking that, okay, well, we have cell phones, now we can't contact other people because of this. That was never even a thought that would cross their mind. They absolutely would have that access. So the younger generations, they learn to communicate on technology. So they're going to be the fastest, communicators. Y2K was brutal. Yes, it was. They're going to be the fastest communicators, but they're going to have fewer social skills than my generation and older. My generation grew up with social skills in grade school and middle school. We didn't get technology until high school. They got technology earlier, and they never crossed into that generation where they had to learn social skills on a different level. They were already learning their socialization online. Like, that was already fixed for them. And so now this newer generation, these babies, like my son's age, like 20 and under, they don't understand that face-to-face communication is not the same as the online communication, and that there is a serious disconnect between the two, and they've never learned those social skills. It was never taught in school because the teachers didn't understand that there was a difference. Like, the teachers didn't understand how to put that into the lesson plans. So, like, now when you're talking about, and so I'm not going to turn this super political, so please don't turn it political on me, okay? When you hear of police departments that cannot get police officers that can talk people down off the ledge, it's because those same police officers never had to be trained on the technology to do their job. But they never got trained on the social skills. So instead of, you can't pause, I am Lana. I cannot get over it because, you can hire a police officer now, you can hire an EMT now, you can hire all these different positions now, and you do not have to sit there and train them like you had to train our generation and older on all this technology. You set them in front of a computer to learn technology, and they're going, I'm so bored. That makes sense. I already know how to do that. Why am I learning this? They get the technology, but they don't get the social skills. So companies and police departments and all of that need to change their training to the social skills. Oh my gosh. All right, so let me see what else I've missed. We had home ec, yes. Typing classes. My gosh, yes. Different way of seeing life experiences. The one-on-one connection is being lost, and it's not that there's not a connection, but what what the new generation is learning, the way that they're learning to interact with each other, it's not the same. It is just not the same. William says, I had a pager. It wasn't because I was cool. It's because my parents were really overprotective. Yeah. I mean, that's why I had a cell phone. I mean, why I had a bag phone. Would be busy doing my work. My asking go. We never got things done with the pager, Susan. I get it. Home ec. Only way to chat with friends to get on my bike and go to their house. Yep. Don't do great in the cooking class, but I rock sewing. Not surprised, Judy. Let's see. Computers when I was in high school were the ones that filled the... Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh, 1984. I'm not going to tell you how old I was. Coding on punch cards. Oh yeah, you definitely had to be tech savvy if you were doing punch cards. So yeah, the social skills are not non-existent. I'll say that. They're not non-existent, but they are so dramatically different from what we were. I'm only old enough to be your daughter, not granddaughter. Oh my gosh. Let's see. He helped build computers at Covair. Okay, so I got exposed to computers way more than any of my classmates in my school. Let me see. Technology goes down, these younger. Yeah, that's part of it too. Tammy is very close to my older daughter's age by this conversation. Yes, she is old enough to have a 20-year-old. Rita, my oldest daughter, is 53. Oh my gosh. Plenty old enough to be a grandmother. Okay. I will blow all of your minds. Technically, I'm a great-grandmother. Technically, I am. Do I actually have contact with my great-grandchild? No, I do not. But I am a step-great-grandmother. I married. Think about that. Say, wow, my oldest grandson is like 22 years fly by. Yeah, they do fly by. Time does fly. Time really does fly. I mean, and even though my son is 20, the oldest child I raised was 12 years older than him. So she would be 32 now. And I helped raise her. So I'm technically old enough to be her mom too. Believe it or not, I am technically old enough. Was I in any situation going to be old enough to have her? No. But I was technically old enough. Oldest great-grand just turned 16. Oh, that's awesome, Joyce. AOL was my first computer experience. Thought it was so cool. I love the dial-up. I love the dial-up sound. I have a bunch of board games, and when the family's all here, I insist on board games so we can have face-to-face. Yeah, and that's the way to do it. I was a great aunt when I was in high school, Susan. Oh my gosh. My husband was an uncle when he was a teenager. He wasn't a great uncle, but he was an uncle when he was a teenager. So one of my nephews is older than me. Or actually, two of my nephews are older than me. Another thing is instant access to so many things. Most haven't learned to take time to think through before they speak. You used to think to have to write a letter, so you had to temper your words and thoughts. Yes. Welcome in, Gladys. Welcome. Glad you're here. Yeah, so, I mean, that's part of the disconnect in the generations. So, you know, it's really crazy to me how, like, when it comes to the quilting world, you know, I do look for quilters my age and younger. My baby is 42, says Lana. I have 6 grands ranging from 21 to 5, identical. Oh my gosh, that's fantastic. Twins actually run in my husband's family. We don't have any living twins. My husband is a twin, but his twin is no longer alive. So, my husband's in software and had been in the industry for 45 years. His first paid programming job was when he was 16. Yeah. So, my dad realized that computers were going to be a big deal, and he went out, and I remember him going into CompUSA. That's how old this is. I remember CompUSA. But we went into CompUSA, and he had taken out money or saved up or something. I don't know how, but I remember it was a huge deal because he withdrew enough cash to go buy us a computer. And then every Saturday when he was off, we would go up to the Birmingham Library, and we would go, me and my brother would sit and entertain ourselves with books or whatever, and my dad would sit there and download computer programs and games onto floppy disks. So we had the old 5 1/4 floppy disks, then we had the 3.5 inch floppy disks. Yeah, we had boxes and boxes of those things, you guys. Like, that's where I learned to play. I didn't play Tetris there, I don't think, but I played Monopoly on the computer. We must be close to the same age, Joyce. My oldest great-grand is 15, says Ryan. Awesome. Let's see. Quilting crafts is being lost. Actually, it's not. That's the nice thing. So even though the younger generations aren't joining quilt groups like what we're accustomed to, if you take a look at the Modern Quilt Guild, you're going to find the young quilters. You're going to find the ones that want to stretch the envelope. So there's going to be quilters that want to do the traditional double wedding ring. There's going to be quilters that want to do traditional paper piecing blocks. There's going to be quilters that want to do sampler quilts. There's going to be those quilters, but the vast majority of the younger generation quilters are trying to push the envelope. They want to figure out how far you can push the fabric and what you can do with it. And that's kind of the nice thing about the younger generation in quilting, is you're going to see a lot of things that are definitely out there, like blow your mind out there, and just absolutely crazy, using different fabrics, using different sewing techniques, all these collages, these miniatures, all of these scrap quilts, all of these different things are coming out of these younger generations. So they are doing things with it, but their consumerism is different from our generations. Oh my gosh, I'm looking at all this computer stuff, you guys. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay, my computer does not have a CD drive in it. My current computer does not have a CD drive. That's how new it is. I do have a portable CD drive so that I can access it. All right, so I did get this ripped so I can resew. Yes. Now, the other thing that you can do, Pam, take all your CDs with your embroidery designs, copy them onto your computer, and then put them on an external hard drive so you can just USB plug it in. That's what I started doing. I only had Atari for gaming console when I was in high school, right? Legit, you're absolutely right, Lori. She says Legit Kits is a perfect example. And it is. It really is. Legit Kits is absolutely that next generation of quilters. They're wanting things that are so different from what our generations wanted. Like, okay, if you pull up a quilting book from the 60s, 70s, 80s, whatever, you know, we're still sitting there using cardboard templates. We're using traditional marking tools. We're using, oh my God, I mean, you guys, you name it, and you know, we were using it. We were salvaging so many things. String quilts came from all of our generations. You're not going to typically see the younger generation using those techniques unless they are repurposing it for something. I still have one of my old computers, has 12 bays on it. 10 or hard drives, has DOS and Windows 3, not 3.1. I no longer have any of those. When I built my computer, my current computer, my dad actually cried because I had the video card that he wanted. Paper bag patterns. I don't know. I've seen people making paper bags out of, you know, quilting pieces. Yeah, that's like a new rendition too. Now, I'm not going to say that what they're doing, what the modern quilters are doing is not, you know, new. It's not new. It's the same stuff that we did all the way back then. But they're revamping it with the modern fabrics and the modern colors, and they're changing the way things work. I used a 3x5 for a template about 5 years ago on a trip to visit my daughter and didn't have rotary tools with me. Yeah, exactly. Yes, that's fantastic. I actually dated an aerospace engineering student in college. That was my college boyfriend, was an aerospace engineering student. I mean, they're doing so many different things. So some of the things you're going to see me do are going to be so traditional, but you're also going to see a lot of that modern out of me. But I blend in so well because I am literally on that cusp between the two generations. If you look at my year that I was born, some surveys will put me in Gen X, and some surveys will put me in millennial. I am quite literally on that bridge between the two. So I go either way. I can go either way easily without struggling for that. Newspaper, yes. Yes, absolutely. Power tools. I I saw somebody, and she got her husband to use his laser level tool for helping her figure out where to cut her quilt to square it up. He used to have all my great grandmother's paper bag quilt block patterns from the Kansas City Star. Yep. I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. And what's crazy is this younger generation, they might understand and go, okay, well, I see where it came from, but they don't want to do it. They don't want to go back to the old methods. Now, some of them will pull the old methods, and you know, honor them, but some of them don't. So it's quite literally a free-for-all in the quilting world when it comes to the modern quilt guild. And yes, I was at the quilt shop, 5 younger moms. We're in the class area upstairs doing tatting, crocheting, doilies, and knitting size. Yeah, absolutely. So some crafts are not getting lost, and some of them are. Some of them are. But quilting is not one that's getting lost, but it's also not one that's getting taught. So bear with me. Bear with me. I learned how to sew from my grandmother. I did not learn to sew from my mother. That was not something that my mother had the patience or the desire to teach. It was not something in her wheelhouse, and that is okay. I am the only quilter in my family because I picked it up and I chose it. I'll have to post the first quilt top I ever pieced. I cut it all the blocks with scissor and paper for a template. Didn't know about all the other stuff. Never have finished it. Oh my gosh, yeah, definitely post it. That is like a heritage piece, Joyce. Absolutely post it. Somewhere I have photos of Dad next to the lunar crawler. We lived in Florida. Oh my goodness. Yeah, you did lose a lot, Andrea. You absolutely did. And so I was watching a video earlier today. Concept of doing crafts outside the box is getting lost. Yeah. Well, so here's the thing. So, like, my mom didn't teach me to quilt. She didn't teach me to sew either. So, if I had never learned from my grandmother, I don't know what I would be doing. I don't know if I would have picked this up. I don't know if it would have intrigued me. I don't know if I would have sought it out later on. I don't know. But I got exposed to it. All of the granddaughters got exposed to sewing. All of us. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of us. I feel like I'm missing somebody. Maybe not. But there's 5 of us granddaughters. All of us got exposed to sewing. My grandmother taught all of us how to sew. She would take us for a summer, take us for a couple of weeks, something like that, so that we could all learn to sew. So we all know how to sew. I'm the only one who actually sews. I have a second cousin. So one of my cousins had a baby, and that child is Mother Earth kind of person. She is cooking, everything else, and she crochets and she sews clothes. She doesn't quilt, but she does sew clothes. So those of the next generation that are going to learn it are going to learn it one way or the other. And they're going to want to learn it. And it's kind of nice that they want to learn it, which is, because I do feel like if we don't put it out there, then nobody will ever learn. Let's see. Shelby says my mom liked quilts but wasn't a quilter. Nobody in my family was. Lana says her mom sewed clothing and taught my mom how to quilt. That's fantastic. YouTube University of Quilting. Yes. Joyce says it's so wonky. That is okay, Joyce. It is okay for it to be wonky. Started sewing when I was like age 5. Never owned an electric sewing machine until 5 years ago. My first electric sewing machine, I was probably about 10 years old maybe. But I learned to sew when I was about 8. Yakima Guild is working with the library to bring sewing machines into a larger room to teach quilting. The library is doing the advertising for it. Fantastic. I saw both my grandma and mother quilt, but didn't have any interest until 2 years ago. Yep, it happens. It happens. And that's kind of the thing with this youngest generation. Whether or not they saw their moms or their grandmothers or anybody else quilt. Yes, Gladys, thank you. You guys check out Gladys's channel. It's fantastic. But yeah, if you don't see someone quilting, if you don't come across a quilting YouTube, you don't come across a how-to or tutorial that gets you interested in learning how to sew or quilt, then you may never get exposed to it in a way that makes you want to pick it up. So exposure is half the battle. So the more that we expose these younger generations to it is also fantastic. There's also lots of home ec. Yes, there is. Absolutely. Pam says, learn from PBS. My mom and grandma started quilting after I joined the Navy. That's fantastic. That's so fantastic. Grandma taught me to sew, crochet, and pretty much everything I know. My mom didn't do any of it. Was a loyal watcher of PBS quilting shows. Now it's YouTube. Yes. Yes. Okay, so here's the cool thing. Okay, so one grandmother, the one that taught me to sew, she sewed clothes, and she actually worked for the International Ladies Garment Workers Union. So the ILGWU, if you ever see that logo somewhere, it's made in the USA. But my grandmother was a union rep for them. You could not tell if her clothes came from JCPenney, Macy's, or her sewing machine. You couldn't tell. You could not tell unless you looked for the tag. My other grandmother didn't teach me to sew at all. She ran a sewing machine store and taught people to heirloom sew. Heirloom, like, I think she did do tatting. What's it called? The fabric pleated, and then you stitch designs on it. If I wasn't trying to think of it, I'd know the name of it. But you find it on babies' clothes a lot. Like, she did that kind of stuff. Just heirloom stuff. Dude, I didn't get to learn from her at all. No quilting. Learned to sew from my mom. Grandma taught me to crochet. Sewing was required in junior high. Yeah, see, I wish sewing was required. Crocheted for 40 years, but can't anymore. My daughter bought me a sewing machine, found a YouTube video, and I started to quilt. Perfect! Sewing in junior high, we were also required to take woodworking, metalworking, and cooking. Smocking, yes! Pam, you got it. Smocking. Smocking is exactly. I wish it was pen tucking. I do know how to do that on the machine. But no, it was smocking. That's what she was doing. Crafts of all kinds. Ooh, watercolor painting. Yes, Lana, definitely smocking. Grandma sent me on her lap to teach me to crochet. The grandmother that did smocking also tried to teach me to crochet. Massive fail. Massive fail. I'm so slow with this tonight, you guys. So slow with it. I'm chatting so much. Okay, so I did think of something while we were talking earlier. And I did not know that I was starting a trend or where this trend started from. So don't shoot me for it. But you guys know, if you haven't been to my channel much, Temperature Rings is a temperature quilt crossed with a double wedding ring quilt. So I did a double wedding ring quilt in 2024 to make it. And I am doing another one this year in 2025, redoing it so that you guys can see it live. Laura Lynn over at Mom and Pop Quilt Shop is going to do a double wedding ring this year. I know Debbie over in Quilt Effect wants to be doing a double wedding ring. I don't know if she's doing it this year or next. Tiffany at Tiffany's Quilting Live tonight was mentioning she wants to do a double wedding ring quilt. And Dave over at Dave's Craft Room just released a video like a week or two ago about his double wedding ring quilt that he just did. Guys, mind blown. I did not know I was starting a trend. Kelly's Quilts and Cruises. Welcome in. Glad you are here. All right, you guys, we are 32 viewers. Please make sure you hit those thumbs up buttons for me. Let's see. A bunch of dots on canvas. Ah, yes. Lana says that she started double wedding quilt. Yep. Oh, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. This is apparently 2025, without me knowing that it was going to be, is the year of the double wedding ring. And I don't know what other content creators are doing double wedding rings. Please let me know. If you see someone doing a double wedding ring, let me know. All things old become new again. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And, you know, some people just want to learn how to do them. And they've waited too long, and it's just finally time to do them. It's just finally time to do them. Let's see. 6 weeks of each, says Jackie. Oh my gosh. So I have something I will show you guys. Not tonight. I can't get to it. It is over on my stand with all of my other kitschy items that people have given me. You know, I went over those on Christmas Eve, on the Christmas Eve Tuesday Night Live. Ooh, a triple wedding ring. Send me the link. Send me the link, Rita. I need to see this quilt. So I'm doing I'm doing the double wedding ring this year. I have another quilt in mind, and it is definitely considered a modern quilt. It's a conglomeration of traditional and modern piecing. Like, it is traditional stuff and old stuff all at the same time. Yes, Jackie. Now, there's embroidery designs for that. There are definitely quite a few out there. Let's see. Not me. I'm on an FPP kick lately. We'll Violet Craft and the gemstone quilt with my sister for our mom. Yeah, absolutely. The Bali Star double. Okay, yes. I do have... I have a Quiltworks double wedding ring, too. So that will get kicked off later in the year, too. Provided that I can, that will get kicked off later in the year. My fabrics are already washed and ready to be pressed. They are not pressed yet, I don't think. I can tell you. No, they are not pressed. Had to look. I moved it from this side of my shelving to this side. It is on the same shelf. But I need to get some of my project boxes emptied so I can start opening up new projects. I have a couple, but has to wait until after I move this summer. I am moving this summer too. Sometime around June. That is the most that I know. I'd also like to see a triple double wedding ring. Yes. Yes. I've never seen a triple wedding ring. But that's like the craziness, you guys. Like, literally, I just, released it, Christmas weekend or Christmas week. Christmas to New Year's week. And here it is. All these other people are wanting to do double wedding rings on their channel. And I'm just like, okay, that works. I would be willing to do a double wedding ring quilt sometime, though. Would be a good learning experience. Yeah, absolutely. So, the double wedding ring that you're going to see on my channel, you're going to see it all year. I'm going to be working on it all year. June also. Well, I guess we're going to be moving buddies. So, what I'm shooting for is starting probably in July or August with the paper piece, the Quiltworks one. I said that all wrong. You're fine, Lana. Triple double. Yeah, you're fine. I was thinking about it. I'm going, is there a triple double? I might need to look into this. Susan says you're making me anxious to be back in my apartment so I can get to my Judy Niemeyer quilt so I can get it up. Yeah. Well, it's going to be July. It's going to be July probably because I'll be moving in so I can just only pull out my kitted up stuff. And because I already have the fabric, I already have the pattern, that will be fairly easy to kit up. So I've just got to clear out some of my stuff. And I've got 2 projects that should be cleared out within the next week and a half to 2 weeks. I'm so looking forward to it. Let's see. After my 2025 goals, 24 binding projects and 26 long arming projects. Then I'm going to focus on tandem my scraps. I'm going to be doing the same thing. Let's see. I have an antique double wedding ring quilt that was hand pieced around the 1920s, hand quilted in the 90s, and I want to finish it with the binding this year. It'll only be a century in the making. Love it. Love it. Let's see. Do not pre-wash my fabric because I want the vintage look and feel you get from the shrinkage after you quilt it. That is how I was taught. So I cheat. So I do wash my fabric, but here's the other thing. And this is why I use the batting I use, you guys. So I was pulling it out the other day because I was obviously getting the plaid quilt kitted up to start quilting it. And I looked really closely at the Warm and Natural, and Warm and White's the same way. I looked at their label. If you don't pre-wash your batting, you have 3% shrinkage. So it's still going to give you that crinkly effect. It's not going to crinkle as much as the fabrics and the batting crinkling, but it is still going to crinkle up, which is going to give you that same effect too. With the double ring, you have 2 rings with interlock. The triple one is with 3 rings interlocked. Yes, I definitely still need to see it. Your scraps are way more organized than mine are. I wash and starch most of the time. Yeah, I wash and starch almost every time. The only time that I did not starch was for that plaid quilt because I am intentionally going for a homespun look. I want it to look homespun when it is done because I definitely don't want people to see it and go, well, that's a brand new quilt, let me steal it. I want it to look like it's well loved because that is exactly how I want my recipient to feel. So, it's intentional. It is intentional. But yeah, so I don't pre-wash my batting ever. Like, batting is not a pre-wash for me. I hear everyone say that scraps grow rapidly. However, as much quilting as I've done, I've got very few scraps somehow. Hard for me to even do a scrappy quilt. Okay, so I save all the way down to 1-inch squares. So I did just buy a pattern named Playgrounds Collide. It caught my eye as a retired playground supervisor. Oh, I bet. So I keep all the way down to 1-inch squares. So if I can cut a 1-inch square out of it, welcome in, Joy T. She says hi, Tammy and Chatters, and gives us a wave. So if you can cut a 1-inch square out of it, I want it. Like if you're not going to use it, I will use it. I love it, Shelby. She says I don't pre-wash or starch because it takes time away from sewing. It does. But I like the feel of my fabric standing on its own 2 feet. That is a very old phrase. You will not find the millennials using that phrase. It is very, very old phrase. Okay. So pressing the last piece of this, and then I'm going to bring it over and trim, and that way I can get down to this 1/4 inch. I say bits and pieces too small to even sew 2 seam allowances on. Oh no! I usually wash darker fabrics for sure. I don't want bleed of color later. Yes! If I starch anything, I just have a mixture that I make from cornstarch, water, and essential oil. I don't say that salvages. And I have not started making my own starch, but I am about to start because I'm going to have to. I am almost out. All right, so I'm going to trim a 1/4 inch away from my outside sewing line that I marked on my freezer paper. So now I can just peel away my scraps, use what I can in this project, and put what I can't either in my stuffings bucket or put it in my 1-inch scraps. Save even the itty bitty tiny bits and use them in my dog and cat beds. Okay, so here's one thing that came up in another discussion, and I'll bring it up, and it is up to you. So all of the stuffing stuff, and let me just do this. In case you guys wonder, literally I have a bucket, okay? A white 5-gallon bucket. And this is where all of my scraps go. These are things that are too small for me to use in any other way, shape, or form. Now, with that being said, I do have some batting scraps in here, but I don't save them unless they are 2.5 inches wide or wider, okay? And sometimes it's overwhelming and I don't want to bother. So, but all my fabric scraps are bigger than it or smaller than an inch, okay? So what the conversation was if a dog gets the bed pulled open, then they can actually choke on all of these pieces. So what I'm going to do so that we don't have that issue, and I'm actually going to repurpose mine for stuffing Christmas ornaments. I have a Christmas ornament design I want to do. I'm going to, when I get to a point, I'm going to take all of these out and I'm going to either give them to kids to sit there and play with it. Wasn't fucking dear Liza? Yes. So I'm going to either take these and go let the 4-H kids like cut them up for me, or I'm going to sit there with my rotary cutter and start running over it and cutting these things really super tiny so that it's more like fiberfill stuffing. And so that's kind of my goal. So this whole bucket, you know, I shove it all down, and it is not full. And I've been collecting for all of 2024, okay? And it is not full because the only things I throw out and throw in here is thread that thread that I clipped off of something, or something that is less than an inch large, okay? So I'm going to trim all that up, cut all that down, and turn it into my own fiberfill. So it's not going to be the scraps, you're not going to be able to feel it. It is going to be super, super small. Couple wedding ring sounds like it might resemble a Celtic Trinity. Oh my gosh, I would love that. I love that. Let's see, loves a scrappy bed. I made him. Oh, that's very, very cool. He hates the fancy one. Figure out a crumb quilt or scrappy quilt. Okay, so check out, gosh, who is it? There's a lot that use the really small pieces. If you have tulle, or you can get a hold of tulle, the like bridal netting, can I make you some curtains? Sorry, Pete. Nope. Can't make any curtains. I do not have the bandwidth to add curtains to my list. So I do just make it into confetti. Yeah. The threads are called orts. Good to use those in spinning and weaving. Yeah, you can have them. Do you want my scraps? Absolutely, Rand. That's fine. I'll take them. If you're not going to do anything with them, I will put them into all of this. I've seen the YouTube videos on braiding smaller strips into fabric, rope for making coasters. Ooh, very cool. Very cool. Let's see. Good for dirty and or wet dogs. What did I miss? I missed something. Pete retracted his message. Okay. I use crumb blocks to make dog quilts. Daughter has one in her SUV. Made one for a friend's truck. Good for dirty and or wet dogs. Yeah, that makes sense. Take netting. Yes, that's what I'm thinking of, Andrea. She said, I took a class where you take netting and make fabric out of those tiny scraps. So you can put netting on top and do interfacing on the bottom. You can do netting on top, netting on bottom. You can also use wash away stabilizer. You just have to do a lot of stitching through it to create that net to cover everything. So there is no worries with that. There is a lot that you can do with them. But I'm definitely going to turn mine into fluff. I saw a pattern this Christmas that I so wanted to make, but I was already behind on deadline on temperature rings and could not dedicate the bandwidth. Fabric rope also works great for using with weaving rugs. On example, I made my own wood peg loom. Oh my gosh! My quilt projects did that. Awesome. Thank you, Chloe. So you guys go check out my quilt projects for how to turn those small pieces into a finished fabric piece that you can then use. I haven't done that before, but I've seen it done. And it's so fantastic. So fantastic. So I watched a couple of videos, and I don't know if you guys are doing like the decluttering stuff. Just order the fabrics for the playgrounds. Awesome. I ordered from Kathy today from my hubby home. I have a project that is in my wheelhouse, that is in my plans, but I do not have the fabrics for it. And one of the things that she had up today that she was selling would be perfect for some of the fabrics that I'm going to need. So I'm going to see how much it actually would cover of what I need, and then I can start filling in the blanks from there. You can also use super small pieces to make your own pillow more fuller, so you do not have to replace it. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why I like the idea of taking that bucket and using my rotary cutter and turning it into like more fiber fill. So yeah. All right, so that is completely trimmed. So I could go ahead and I actually am going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and pull the freezer paper off. I just know that I need to do the other one. And what my plan is right now is I'm going to make one block that is this colorway. And then I'm just going to keep pulling from my scraps. These were big pieces in my scrap bins. I'm just going to keep pulling from my scraps and finding new fabrics to substitute in until I have a full quilt. Let's see, declutter, well, that one for me. I have severe OCD, so do not really have the clutter. Everything has its place and everything in its place. I see, that's kind of my thing too. So I'm watching all these declutter videos and I'm going, well, I don't really need to do that. I just did that myself. Like, I just did that on my own. Oh my gosh, you guys, this is looking fantastic. Binge watching decluttering downsizing videos. Okay. You're awesome, Kelly. You're fantastic. You blatantly steal ideas from other people, but you give them credit. Perfect. That's absolutely perfect. You absolutely give them credit, and then, yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and trim this one down so that I don't have all the extra this time. And if I'd wanted to, I could have waited to take the paper off of that first one that I just did tonight until I got this other one done and got them sewn together like these two are. But with freezer paper, you have the flexibility. You can go either way. Now my black is some really thin fabric. It is not normal quilting cotton fabric. It's some suspect stuff. But we're using it anyway because it is dark, or well, it is black. It is very, very black. It's see-through, but it's black. So we're going ahead and using it anyway, and we'll just make the best of it. All right? So that's what we're doing. Let's see, we all contribute something. Yes, we do. We all do. We all contribute. I mean, like, okay, so everybody doing these double wedding ring quilts this year is absolutely contributing to people who are going to want to do mine. So I'm not minding. I was just shocked. That was all it is I was just shocked. And in case you guys are wondering, because I just said something about, oh yeah, you see somebody else's channel, you see somebody else's video and you're like, duh. Yeah, that happens. Happens to me all the time. If you have a fabric and you do not know the fabric content, you do not know what's in it, you can always take a scrap of it and do a burn test. How many of you guys have done that? How many of you guys have burn tested your fabrics before? All my scraps are stored in a big dresser according to size, color, and shape. All stacked up. I do keep all white in a different drawer. Same thing per size and shape. Okay, so like, all right, you know what? We're gonna pull this out just because I can. All right, let's see. Where are we? We're going up here. These are my 1-inch squares. So when I tell you I save all the way down to a 1-inch square, I'm not joking. These are quite literally 1-inch squares. And this is all primarily reds, okay? There's some in here that will read as pink. There's some in here that ended up in the wrong basket because the outer fabric was red, but the inner fabric is not, and it's going to read a different color. But so like all of these bins are my 1-inch squares. So that's my red. This is my whites currently. I need to cut up some more fabrics, and I also have purples in here. I don't know why, but I do have purples in there too. I have an old iron specific for that purpose. I'm not sure the fabric contents. Use a lower setting of my iron. Yeah, see, I don't even do that. If you take a small sample of it, take a 2-inch by 1-inch scrap, hold it with some metal tongs, and of course do this outside where you're not going to burn anything important, but do a burn test. If the fabric burns and like disintegrates, it's a 100% natural fiber, cotton, silk, something like that. If it melts at any point, there's polyester in it. So if you need to test a fabric before you use it in your quilts, that is how you test it. I've done it with batting scraps too, if I can't remember if it's 100% cotton or not. I'm pretty good at keeping batting sorted, but mistakes happen. Yes, they do. Yes, Andrea, absolutely. She says, we just used a whole bunch of those little 1-inch squares for the little dandy block. Yes. Yes, we did. A whole bunch of them. Now, these weren't any of the ones that I used. These were things that I've cut from other projects. So, I've got, this one's more of a conglomeration. It's got purple and green and cream in it. So here's one thing that I did. And I'm going to show you this on the camera too. I make postage stamp quilt, so I cut all my pieces at 1 inch. I wasn't thinking straight. Yes, Lana, I totally get that. All right, let me put a piece of fabric up here. All right, so there's that green square. So I took a piece of template plastic and I colored in a 1-inch square, but I cut out a 1/2-inch square in the center. So now I can put this over any fabric that I have, any 1-inch square, and I can see what's going to show. So that red square that I showed you earlier that wasn't really red or wasn't going to show up red, I can show you, if I had that fabric back up here, I could show you exactly what was going to show up. I was trying to see if there's one in this bucket. Okay, here's one. Here's one. Okay, so this it's cream, but it's got blue letterings on it. So taking my little template plastic with my 1/2-inch square cut out, I can now see that part of the blue is going to show up. And so it's going to show up in that 1/2 inch. So if that's going to matter to my finished project, then I need to set it aside. Chloe says, fussy cut. Yeah, it kind of is. But this is more just, I'm going to go ahead and cut the 1-inch squares, like wherever I can get them. But then this will show me what it's going to look like in the finish. But yeah, it's definitely a finished, or just definitely a, and I've had that one, 10 years. That's the one that I've had for 10 years. This one, I haven't cut the center out of it. Let me see if I can get it in front of the camera. There we go. So it's a 1-inch square and 1/2-inch window in the center, but I haven't cut it out yet. I need to take some time and cut it out. And then I'll take a Sharpie and color in the rest of the 1-inch square to make a fresh one. So yeah, these are my 1-inch squares, and they do kind of get separated out. All of the other scraps you see, aside from a few, are all conglomerations. So, like, let me put these back up and I'll show you. Alright, so everything else up here is all untouched. Like, I haven't gone through it. I haven't sorted it. I haven't done anything to it. The bins right here are strips, and I have one UFO in here that I need to pull out. These are actually pre-cut sizes. So I have my layer cakes in here, as well as some 5-inch squares. Kelly says, "Good night, all going to watch TV with me." You're fine, you're fine. And then the rest of these are strips, or something along those lines. And there's one UFO here, and these are untouched. So, like, I have kind of like a system going with it, but I definitely need to pull it out and work 30 minutes a day on it. So that's my new goal for 2021, is pull my scraps out and work 20 minutes a day. One thing that's hard for me, having to take bins down to get to other bins. Okay, so that's as high as that stack goes. It does not go any higher than that. Like, I will not stack it higher than that. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. I have 2 tubs of scraps to cut up. It just looks so overwhelming. I have 3 more bins. That have not gotten sorted into that yet because I don't have enough room. So I do need to go through them. So in 2025, what my goal is to take my scrap bins and start 30 minutes a day. You know, even if I don't do anything else, like set a timer for 30 minutes, come in here and press my scraps. And if I feel like cutting, cut it. If I don't feel like cutting, just go ahead and just press. Because I do find that I work better with fabric that's pressed. Like, if it is like wonky and all crinkled up, it's a little bit harder for me to get the motivation to work with it. But if it's pressed, I tend to find that motivation a lot easier. A lot easier. So that's actually what I'm going to be starting tomorrow. Is starting my 30 minutes a day. 30 minutes a day. It's kind of like going to the gym, but it's not going to the gym. It's staying right here in the comfort of my sewing room and working from here. I'm working from home. So that's like my decluttering thing. So I watched all of the I finally got caught up on Karen Brown Just Get It Done quilts. I caught up on all of her decluttering videos, and YouTube suggested another one to me. Susan said I didn't truly realize how many scraps I have until I had to pack for, yes, press, cut, and repeat. Yes, Lana, absolutely. I mean, and I might get through two cuts of fabric in one session, or I might get through like 5, But either way, it's going to get me, down the road a little bit with it. Now, I do have, for my 1-inch squares, oh no, that is when you realize, or if you have to move, yes. Well, see, I will have to move, but I do want my scraps a little bit more well-maintained before I have to move. I do have bins, and I use the word bins as plural, because I do have bins in the closet that are strips. I do have strips in the closet. So I have 2.5-inch strips. I have 2.25-inch strips that people gifted me that were, I guess, their size of binding strip. So I have strips. I have lots and lots of strips. So my February freebie quilt pattern, did I make this the right size? Yes, I did. Okay. I was panicked for a second that I didn't make my fabric piece large enough. Nope, it's the right size. So my first freebie project is going to be using charm squares. So if you are sitting there cutting your scraps down, 5-inch squares is what we're going to need for that project. You can do it with an actual charm pack. You can do it with charms. You can do it with your own cut charm squares. however you want to do it. Or you can just cut pieces as you go from your scraps, however you want to do it. But February's freebie is charm squares. Charm square friendly. The one February, so that's February, March, April. So the one in April, gosh, April's going to be busy, you guys. The one in April is going to be strips. We are going to be using strips. Most of my scraps are in vacuum bags. That's actually not a bad idea either. It's not a bad idea. My only problem with putting mine in vacuum bags would be that I would never pull them back out. And I need to pull them back out. I do have another mosaic quilt planned. Judy says, heading to bed now. We'll watch the rest tomorrow. You're fine, Judy. Absolutely. Sleep well, sweetheart. And I hope you don't mind me calling you sweetheart. I'm so sorry. Did not mean to if you don't want me to. but sleep well. Susan says, how I plan to use the scraps is to sew crumb blocks 4 inches and sew them with coordinated rectangles like Tiffany did. Her small blocks she sewed. That makes sense too. Oh, that's awesome. Rita says that's what she did, Jackie, and then she can see exactly what's there. That's fantastic. Yeah, I don't have, you guys are seeing the majority of it. So the bins like right up here are taller bins, like they're, probably triple height. Like you could fit one bin in the space of these 4. And they're too tall. Like they're stacked too tall, too high. Too high, not too high. Need to remember to post a quilt top I made in December. I call it by my 9x16. Yes, absolutely. And then Tiffany's project last week, and this was great. Yes. So the block she was doing in the center is actually the starting point. I was already planning to do that before I saw her doing it. So that same exact block is what we're doing, but we're going to be using charm squares. I know exactly how many scraps shrink bags I need when making a king size quilt. Then when I have enough, no sorting, just sewing. Awesome. See, I have a lot that are not sorted into sizes, and I need to sort some into sizes so that I know what I have and how to use them. Now, like the yellow and pink that's in this isn't straight out of those bins. Like I opened the bin up and these were the 2 first fabrics. Like quite literally, I did not have to search for them. They were on top, ready for me to pick up, and that's what I chose to use. So I may pick some more fabrics for this quilt as I'm going through my scrap bins, but it's not a priority. Let's see. I took 5-inch squares and made 9 patches, and 3-inch squares and made 16 patches. Yes, that's a good way to do it too. I just didn't want, for myself, I did not want to do just straight squares. So that's the reason why I chose kind of like a block pattern, a specific pattern to the block. It wasn't a good idea. It's just I wanted something different. I wanted to see what it would look like to make a bunch of half square triangles out of 1-inch squares. Wow, that was different. Now that I won't do. That I won't do. I have 4 baskets, large pieces, 2 to 4-inch pieces, tiny bits, and selvages. And when the baskets get full, fill a Ziploc bag, and then put it in the cut up large Rubbermaid bin. Still on the round to do it list. Okay, that makes sense. See, so if I got done with this, and this is something I have left over, I'm not in the mood to sit there and cut a 2.5-inch square out of it, or a 2-inch square out of it, and then cut the 1-inch squares. I'm not in the mood to do it right now. So that's how my scraps build, is I don't want to cut it right then. And then I do also have generous benefactors who are also happy to offer me scraps that will fill my 1-inch scrap bins. So I get a lot of scraps from all different places. Pam says, Tammy, you're tempting me already for February. Focus, Pam. Binding and quilting, binding and quilting, binding and quilting. Love it. Half square triangles, 3/4. No. No, Lana. You lost me there. She's talking about making half square triangles out of 3/4 inch squares. Nope. Nope, not doing it. Keep the 12-inch blocks of those tiny half square triangles and use it as is. Never do again. Okay, so when I made Star Systems, an Elizabeth Hartman pattern named Star Systems, when I made that, all of the flying geese in that pattern, I did double. Okay, in case you guys did not know, I did double. Oh, after I get moved, I'll be using my parents' dressers for my sewing pre-cuts. The house I'm moving into doesn't have a lot of storage. Yes, so this apartment, I have this room that I'm in, and I have a walk-in closet. And the walk-in closet also has to have my linens, so seasonal linens like tablecloths, spare quilts, spare blankets, spare pillows. All of that has to go in that closet in addition to all of this around here. I use a lot of freestanding storage shelves. So if you see the shelving unit behind me, these are black metal shelves. You can get them in silver. I believe this one will hold 350 pounds per shelf. The one that my computer is sitting on holds 500 to 800 pounds per shelf. I don't remember. I also have plastic shelving units that are like the plastic, poles and the plastic shelf or whatever. And they fit underneath the wire racks that are already pre-installed. I use the Sterilite dresser type things to store different types of items in my closet. I also hang my crafting hairdryer, my extra hoops for my embroidery machine, anything that can hang on hang off the side. I use an S hook to hang it off the side in my closet. So out here, I have a thread shelf rack that I made. I have one bookshelf, one little decorative shelf. I've got the cubby unit back here that is actually brand new. And then I've got the 2 freestanding shelving units. Lemons, not linens. Both. Both. So there is a way to store everything, and I think that's where I was going to go with the declutter thing. Let me read this comment real quick. A lot of my donation quilts go to the homeless, and those quilts take a lot of abuse, so I do not want to put a lot of work into them. They need warmth, not a show quilt. Oh yeah, absolutely. Prefer floating shelves or make some of what I call shadow boxes. I do have a couple of floating shelves, and those hold my very decorative, I don't very often use them, threads. You have another Arctic blast coming worse than the last couple of years where Texas lost power and water. Oh, I hope, Andrea. I really hope so. So, getting back to what I was thinking of, where my brain was going before I derailed, because I squirrel so easily, especially tonight. So the decluttering videos that I was watching, if you go to Just Get It Done Quilts, Karen Brown over Just Get It Done Quilts, or there's a couple of others out there, and I don't know exactly where, like, I don't know all the names for everybody. But one thing that they go over, and I find this is exactly my mindset when I move. Okay, this is why I bring it up. What is your space going to contain? So you go through your books, you go through your patterns, you go through your tools, you go through your threads, you go through your rotary cutters and irons and mats and all of this other things to declutter. But you can revamp your space and organize it because you've decluttered all this extra that you don't need. So that's what I think of every time that I reorganize my space is I do declutter, but I don't need to declutter a lot because I do it constantly. But it's fantastic because you don't feel stuck. And when, especially if you're moving into another place or something, you can think about, okay, I have these items that I'm keeping. I have these items that are important. Let me plan my storage space around them. Rita says, I do my own nails, so the warehouse where I get my supplies has some nail polish display racks they gave me. Works perfect to store thread spools as well as nail supplies. That is awesome. My problem with my thread was I have different brands of thread. So a friend of mine was going to get rails cut. We went to Home Depot together. I had the bigger vehicle. And she was getting rails cut for her bed so she could, support the bed frame, or like add them to the bed frame to support the weight of the mattress and her husband. And they didn't need as long as the rails came. So all the cutoffs, I was like, what are you going to do with those? It's like, I don't need them. I was like, can I have them? She said, yeah, absolutely. So I took all of those home. And literally, it is like just under 20 something inches wide. And all I had to do was buy 2 long pieces and then drill holes and then paint it. So I have a thread rack that I paid maybe $10 after stain to assemble. It's fantastic. If you have Sam's, they have commercial 6 shelves that can be split into 2. They come with a wheel option and plastic shelf sheets for a great price. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Let's see, Oklahoma. We still have snow. Yes, you do, Lana. Absolutely. That's the shelving unit I have for my fabric. Yeah. So the one in front of me came from Staples years ago, and then the one behind me came from Menards. Not everybody has Menards. It's kind of like Home Depot on steroids. Pam, I've used them for fabric as well as bits and bobs. Yes. No, Texas is not set up for that. Decluttering took place while packing. Yes. When I get back in, I'll have more space. As I got rid of 3 pieces of furniture. Yep, it happens. Sometimes simply doing a little organization frees up a ton of space. It does. Do not tell anyone. Over 3,000 different bottles of nail polish. Does not include other nail stuff, so had to store them on the wall. I do my own nails too. I have not painted them in a while. I have not been feeling up to it. I do want to get back into painting them because it does tend to help me when they're painted. It tends to help me keep them safe and grow them, and not have them splitting and breaking on me. But I have not felt up to it. But I do have nail polish. I actually have one of those little Sterilite drawers that has my makeup and my nail polish in it, and it's underneath my vanity in my bedroom. I have a little office desk, little secretary desk that we made it into a vanity for me. I was watching a video earlier today that made an awesome suggestion. She said she talked to her long armor she get all of her cutoffs after quilt. Oh, that's fantastic, Andrea. Oh my goodness. Getting all the cutoffs from the long armor when she's squaring up those quilts. Oh my gosh. Tossed tons of bottles of old nail polish this season, yeah. I don't have old, mine's like maybe a couple years old, maybe. But I still have it. She cuts the fabric into 2.5-inch strips by 108 wide. Oh my gosh. I could totally see doing that. That is not fair of an idea, but I will suggest it to one of my friends that is also long armor. Good night, Patricia. She says, good night, everyone. Have a good night. Good night. Thank you for being here. Also found a new double craftsman toolbox for a little money at resale shop. It's so helpful for organizing bits and bobs. I did have a toolbox at one point. I haven't had that one for a while, but I did have one. And oh my gosh, I loved that thing. I loved it. my hoops, I don't know that I put thread in there because I still had too much thread then for that. But oh my gosh, I had tools, I had extra scissors, rotary cutters, blades. Like I didn't need all this storage all out in the open because I had the toolbox, and then I had storage on top of the toolbox. Like it was fantastic. I don't remember whatever happened to that. I don't remember when I got rid of that. But I did get rid of it. It didn't fit my space any longer, but I don't remember when. Oh, I loved my toolbox. All right, everybody saying goodnight to Patricia. Yep, absolutely. We are going to end here shortly. I'm not going to be done with this, but I'm going to call it quits too. I need to check on the husband and all of that nonsense. So, yeah, we got to check on the husbands, right? What happened is back in 2019, I was getting set up to have a nail salon in my home. So, yes, you were on charge teaching sewing, health had other plans. I feel you. Health had other plans. I feel that statement in my bones. I feel it so much. So very much. All right, so I got one black piece on. I'm going to go ahead and get the other one on, and then I'm going to call it quits for the night. I'm going to get back to Sparkle, getting some stuff done on Sparkle, and then I'm going to, what else am I going to do? I'm going to work on other projects too. Looking into getting a husky table for my machine. Oh, that'd be fantastic. Absolutely, Pam. She says, need to say goodnight too. See y'all Tuesday Eve. Yes. Use a dresser to store my quilting projects, whips, fabric with patterns picked, cross stitch in one drawer. My cross stitch would take more than one drawer. You know what? I may not get very far on this because I still gotta trim this. I am squirreling bad tonight, you guys. I'm loving it. I'm loving it though. I promise. How is this camera angle working for you guys? Is the camera angle on the cutting mat working well? When I can show measurements and it's safe for me to show measurements? Is that okay? You guys let me know. Ah, yeah. Joe says, so do I. Sorry that you've gone through that, Rita. Yes. Health is a pain in the rear when it doesn't want to cooperate. It is so much a pain in the rear. So is the government. The government is very much like health. The government's a pain when it doesn't work the right way. Oh. I squirreled the other night. So let's see, what was it? Okay, so Friday, I actually had to leave twice. I had 2 different times that I had to leave the house. Great view. Awesome. Yay. Thank you for that. So I had to leave the... Oh, welcome in, Katie. Everybody was asking about you earlier. Jackie says, night all. Night, Jackie. Thank you for being here. Andrew says, can see fine. Perfect. 12 of those stands with 10 drawers, and each they're full of important... just for my cross stitch. So I've got like 2 drawers, maybe. I think I'm at 2 drawers of one of those wide dresser things for all my cross stitch. And then I still have good night, Tammy. Still really tired from marathon session Friday and Saturday. You're fine, Susan. You have a good night. Thank you for being here. Thank you. I lost track of how far I need to stitch. Maybe. Yeah, I'm gonna have to check on the husband shortly because I don't know what he's doing. Oh. Everybody saying hi to Katie. Yes, absolutely. Thank you, you guys. Everybody was asking how you were doing, Katie. Everybody asking if we'd seen you. So, well, I know I have recently. Just can't remember exactly what day. My days are running together. Let's see. Yes, we were wondering if you were okay. Yes, exactly. That's exactly the sentiment. I can't put words to stuff tonight, but that was what we were talking about. That is exactly what we were talking about. Alright, I'm going to trim this to that 1/4 inch. And then that's going to be it for sewing. I'm not going to sew anymore on this tonight. It will be another pull-out. I have cross-stitch all over the top of the dresser. So I have not done cross-stitch almost since moving in here. Cross-stitch is a good project for me when my body is not cooperating and I can't get in here to sew. So like if I ever have to have hip surgery again, or if I have to have knee surgery, or you know, whatever, or if I'm going to the hospital and be sitting there for forever with my husband, cross-stitch is great for that. Other than that, I have not been cross-stitching for anything. It is such a sad state of my cross-stitch career. I have not cross-stitched anything in so long. I'm okay, been super tired, went to bed, been sleeping most of the day up until about 5 minutes ago. Katie says hello to anyone I missed. So I'm rough cutting. Just very, very tired. I hear you, Katie. I hear you. So so Friday I had to climb the stairs twice, which is too much. I've got 4, oh my gosh, Lana. Okay, so I have one really old project, like really, oh my gosh, what? Nightbot got you. I don't know why Nightbot didn't like that many caps. You're fine, Lana. You weren't yelling at us. Nightbot just thinks you were. That's all it is. It's Nightbot. We're going to put him in a corner. It is actually a badge of honor to trigger Nightbot on my channel, so you're good. Oh no, Rita. She says that she's going to have to find a good home for all of her cross-stitch, crochet supplies, and knitting supplies. Her eyesight is finally failing. Back in 2000, I was told it was going blind. That's heartbreaking. So now just focus on sewing. Yes. See, okay, so here's the thing. People have asked me, and I've said, I can lose my eyesight and I can lose the ability to walk and lose the use of my legs, but don't let me lose the use of my hands. Getting ready to have my 10th surgery since November 2020. 49 in 59 years. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. So crazy. So I have a really old project that I need to finish. It's planned for my mother. So Mom, if you're watching, I have had it planned for a while. No, I am nowhere near being done with it. I'm nowhere near being done. But I have that to do. And I really have not gotten back into the swing of working on it. So it's just sitting there for right now. It really is. Cross stitch is just not something that I do that much. Not anymore. Not like I used to. I used to do a lot of it, but I haven't been. Oh, Joyce asks, how much do you want for your supplies, Rita? And if you guys do want to do some kind of deal or something, if you want to send me an email, I will forward your information on to the other. So both of you need to agree to send me an email, and I will forward your information on to each other. I do not mind facilitating things like that. Yes, I understand that, Rita. She says, that's why paper piecing has been a real challenge, of which I refuse to let my bad eyesight make me not do it. Yes. Yes, fight it. Fight it as hard as you can. So, well, we've got, 1.5 pieces. Or 1 3/4 done of this block. No, not a full, oh my gosh, whatever fraction this is, it is not completely done. But that's what's going to go into the box here in just a minute, or go back into the bag. And it's going to go back into my bag and go underneath the table for a bit, and we're going to see Laura says, Joe, you even have me beat. I've had 25 surgeries since 89. Oh my gosh. Crazy. Rita says, I fight, refuse the chairs, and refuse the canes. Oh my goodness. I was told several years ago that I was getting cataracts. I have astigmatism. I don't have cataracts, but I do have astigmatism. And so it does affect how I view things. But the pink glasses help me a lot. So it really does. So yep, but that is where we're at, you guys. So we don't have there's no pink or peach on the one on the right. Nope, there is not. Well, there's some yellow. Yeah, there's some yellow. But there's no pink. Yeah. So I haven't added the pink and I haven't added the black outer to it. So I'll come back and do that later, but I'm not doing it right now. I'm too tired. So I went up the stairs twice on Friday and then came home and ate and then immediately went and crawled into bed. I was in bed by like 7 o'clock. So I was up again at 10:30 when about my husband had to go to bed. And then I was up until 6:30 when he got back up, and I went back to bed until like another 10:30. Oh, let's see. Andrea says I had to change my Advantage plan this year, so I'm hoping I can get new glasses and hearing aids this year, or at least get my old hearing aids repaired. See, that's another thing. So when people found out, or when doctors' offices found out I was losing my Medicare Advantage plan, they thought I was just losing that, not Medicare, as well. And they're like, oh, well, don't get another Medicare Advantage plan. And I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah, just go straight Medicare. It's so much better. And I'm just thinking, you guys have never had a Medicare Advantage plan. I'm like, I need the vision. I need the dental. I need all of these benefits that come with an Advantage plan. So, no, I'm keeping an Advantage plan. If I have Medicare, I'm keeping an Advantage plan. And they're like, because I was like, which Advantage plan should I go with? And they're like, oh, all of them stink. Well, what am I supposed to do? So, it is crazy. Joe says, your block looks beautiful. Thank you, Mary Jo. Appreciate it. Thank you. All right, so next live that I am for sure going to be on is going to be mine on Tuesday night. I might be over at Williams. It's going to be so pretty when it's done taming. I hope so. So this is just one block. And I will, pull out other fabrics to make more blocks. And we're just going to make blocks until I run out of this black fabric. No way I would ever get rid of my Advantage plan. See, and that's the thing. I'm just like, they don't understand the advantage of the Advantage plans. So I had a United Healthcare Advantage plan, and they're like, that's the worst plan to have. Like, nobody was accepting it. Welcome in, or Chloe says good night all, and I'm saying welcome in. Yeah, I'm tired. But he is not allowed to do family. I'm confused. Rep finds the right plan. What my husband does. Oh, that's what okay, that's what your husband does for a living. Okay, got you. I got you now. It makes sense now. So yeah, I don't, I'm not going to stay on here much later, you guys. I'm going to go ahead and get off of here. But I will be back Tuesday night, 6 p.m. Mountain Time. Oh, shoot, Lana. Yeah, crazy, right? Crazy. So Tuesday night, you guys will be able to enter. You'll be able to do freebie entries, and you can do super chat entries for the January 21st live, for the anniversary live, for all of the giveaways. So there's going to be a lot of giveaways. So you can absolutely do freebie and you can do super chat entries on Tuesday night. So please do not forget to be here. Thursday night we will have Kathy from My Hobby Home here. We'll be working on the Land That I Love quilt. from the Celebrate with Quilts book by Lissa Alexander and Susan Ake. And next Sunday, we will have Sean from The Guy Who Sews coming over here to hang out with us, with all of us little people. All of us little people. I'm short. So we're going to have Sean hanging out with us next week. We're going to work on Fab Farm, you guys, okay? So you want to be here. So thank you for being here. You guys have a great night. If you've not gone and touched any fabric, thread, sewing machine, or any other thing to inspire you, please do that before you get going into this next week. You need to stay inspired. I will see you guys.